This is a Tesla Model Y, and in this video I'm going to fit this door seal kit. These door seal kits for Teslas are marketed as noise reduction kits, but I'm not fitting it for that because the Tesla Model Y is already a very quiet car and there's no wind noise at all coming from the doors. That's not the case on all Teslas, and certainly if you had an older model, particularly the American made ones and the older Model 3s, then they did suffer from a bit of wind noise. So yes, maybe a noise reduction kit on some of those cars would have a benefit. When buying these door seal kits, you can also get an extended kit which also includes a window seal kit, which includes rubber that you insert around the glass roof panels. But again, I don't think it's needed on this, but possibly on older models. This is a right-hand drive Model Y, as you can see, and in the UK all of our Teslas come from Shanghai because that's the only factory making right-hand drive vehicles, and they're really built well and noise just isn't an issue on these. So why have I got a door seal kit? Well, I'm not fitting it to reduce noise because I don't think that will have any benefit at all. I'm fitting it to reduce dirt and water up the seals. So the Model Y has two door seals already. You've got this inner seal here, and then you've got an outer seal fitted on the doors, and that is sealing along here. But as you can see, there's still quite a bit of metalwork exposed, and this does get dirty and wet. So my intention here is to fit a third door seal around the edges of the door, which will then be sealing along here, and that will keep the seals clean, and then there'll be less chance of getting dirt on the back of your trousers or getting your clothes dirty during the winter. And it's more noticeable on the back because again you've got dirty seals there, but then all of this section gets dirty and wet, and then as you're getting in and out the back, your jacket and clothes and things can rub on there and you can get water or dirt on your clothes. So that's my intention anyway, and it's also going to help when you clean the car because it's all too easy to forget to open the door and clean the seals. So you can wash your car, stand back and think it's all nice and clean, and then open the door to get in, and then you've got these dirty seals left. This door seal kit was supplied by Arcoche, and Arcoche sell accessories for all Tesla vehicles and they ship worldwide. And at the end of the video I'll share a discount code if you want to buy this or any of the products off their website. So this is the door seal kit for Model Y, and it doesn't include the window seals. So what do you get? Well, you have a right front door, a left front door, the rear door seals for both left and right. You then got an A pillar and a B pillar, and 6 wipes, so 1 for every seal. And these wipes are an adhesion promoter. I guess they're just an alcohol wipe, but there are 2 versions, but they're both the same. They're both adhesion promoter, but you can double check by using Google Translate, and in real time, this is very clever, it will translate the Chinese writing to English. So that's an adhesion promoter, and that one is adhesion promoter. It's very clever, isn't it? And these aren't just a bag of standard rubber self-adhesive sealing strips, they're all custom made for the car. So if we look at this one, which is the left front door, we can see here that this lower profile looks like that. So that's going to seal along the bottom of the door, and then it's all moulded in a right angle there, so then this strip is going to go up the door, and this is a different profile, just a piece of flat rubber. So yeah, it's all cut and welded, different bits of rubber to make a proper customized rubber strip for the Tesla model that it's applicable for. So the first job is to clean the car. Well, I don't need to clean the seals particularly, I need to clean the doors. I need to clean where the rubber is going to stick. So in this case I've got to clean along the inside edges of the doors. But it's raining now and it's not really suitable because I need to get all that dry as well, so I'm going to have to come back later on. So it's now some weeks later and I finally got around to fitting the door seal kit. So first off, you need to wash the car obviously. You've got to wash the A-pillar down there, all along the bottom of the doors and up here. But I've also washed all the seals so I can test how well these door seal kits work once they're fitted. And obviously washed all around the back door, up in there and all around there. So I have already done the driver's side off camera to practice, and it's not the easiest of things to do. Well, it is only sticking a rubber seal on at the end of the day, but if you want to make a really good job, it is quite difficult to get it straight, and the one that was the most difficult is this A-pillar seal. That was very difficult to get straight all the way down there, but to be honest, that one isn't doing very much at all really. And as we can see here, it is just that bit of rubber there, and all that is doing is sort of filling this gap here. So you've just got to stick it along the inside edge of this car, and as long as it's protruding halfway, or roughly halfway, it's going to do its job. So you don't have to be spot on with this. This strip is obviously very thin, and then you've got the thicker strip at the bottom. I have also cut out here so you're not covering the drain holes either side. I made a better job on that one because that was the second one, and you can't actually see it, but it's all cut out underneath. And then on the rear door I haven't bothered because the drain holes are higher than the rubber. You're not covering the drain holes with the rubber strip. There's one there and one there. So you don't really need to cut the rubber out for those because the water would just run out over it if there was any water in the door. And when fitting the door strips, you start in this lower corner and work either way, of course, because that's your right angle. But I did find on the rear door, this one was quite a bit too long, and it has a moulded rounded end. So this ended up being about 1.5 inches too long. So what I did was cut it back here, and as you can see I've got a join there, two separate pieces. So I've left with the rounded top at the top, because this is a point where you're going to see and potentially hold, so you probably want the benefit of the nice smoothed off rounded end, and also water isn't going to get in there, and there's less chance that water's going to get here in that seam than having an open seam at the top. So that's what I've done with that, but the rest of it, it is too long, you trim it to suit and it works really well. And then when it comes to the B pillar seal, you just stick this on the inside of the rear door, and again you've got a rounded top on that one, so you start there and that finishes there, just because this metal lip doesn't go all the way down, and then that is just sealing against that flat rubber there, and it's just filling in this gap between the two doors. On a white car, obviously this rubber stands out quite a lot, so you've got to take care and make sure you get this sticking on nice and evenly and not wobbling around too much, like it's gone in a little bit there. When you're sticking it on, you can pull it back off as long as you're quick, but if you press this on too hard and leave it too long, it sticks really well. So it's quite difficult to make a perfect job of it. It's not so bad at the bottom because you're never going to be laying on the ground to see that, but certainly that edge, it wants to be pretty straight. So the first thing is to get the wipe, and then wipe where the self-adhesive strip is going to go, all the way around there. And while I've got that one, I'm just going to do the A-pillar one as well. To make my life easier, what I'm going to do is use a bit of masking tape just to tape up this bit so it doesn't get in the way. So then that sits up there and it's not going to flop around on the ground when we stick this bit on. I'm going to mark the drain hole on the top of the rubber. And using scissors, I'm going to cut the back out but leave the top there. So I'm essentially cutting the bit of rubber that holds the tape actually. So I've cut that piece out the back, so it will look like it's not cut from the top, but the water can run out the back behind this flap. Cutting that off. So now for this A-frame one. This by far is the most awkward one to fit because it's just very difficult to get your hands down in there, and this seal is just going to stick along that inner edge of the door. So it's going to go like that. But obviously you've got to get it behind the hinges and the wiring loom there first off, and then it's just very difficult to get your fingers in there to get it in the right place. So the way I found it to work best on the other side is to hold it with a bit of masking tape and then push it up to the door rather than sticking it onto the door this way. I found that was an easier way of using my finger roughly on the seam there and pushing it up and then sticking it, and that allows you to get the sort of depth correct. I found that was the easiest way, because if I tried to stick it on like that I couldn't feel where the edge of the door was and it would end up sort of doing this. So now for this B-pillar seam, which is just the inside lip of the rear door. I've already used the wipe on it, and you'll notice with these B-pillar seams there is an open end and a closed end. So obviously the closed end wants to go at the top. Let me just stick that down there. Because this bit is too long, it's about 2 centimeters too long, and obviously I want to keep the sealed round top. I'm going to start that there and make a cut on that corner there. Because this rear door seal sits lower, I haven't had to cut around the 2 drain holes. So that seal is going to seal along there, and from the outside none of it is visible. The only one that's ever really visible is this one along the inside edge of the rear door, and then you've got this rubber here which is going to seal up onto it, and this A-pillar flap is only visible when the door's open. It actually looks very OEM, and when that's shut it's just filling in the gap and it's not visible. So the next test is to see whether these new rubber door seals actually work and stop the dirt getting up onto my sills. So I'm going to leave this overnight for the sticky tape to properly cure and do its job, and then tomorrow what I'm going to do is run the pressure washer along the bottom to simulate driving through water and puddles and see if any water gets up onto this. So it's actually a couple of days later now, and yesterday I was driving this in the drizzle. It wasn't particularly strong rain, wasn't that wet, but there was obviously a lot of water on the road, and as you can see the seals are completely clean still. So clearly these door seals are working, but it would take many weeks to do a proper test. So that's why I thought I would use the pressure washer, because if this is going to stop water being directed up with a pressure washer, it's certainly going to be stopping any mud and water and spray coming up when you're driving on the road, because that pressure washer is going to be a lot stronger than water coming off the tyres and road surface. So as you can see, the water is being directed then straight at the gap under the doors, which is going to be far worse than any water on the road, because that's going to be hitting the underside of the seals. So let's have a look. Yeah, there is water up the seals and at the bottom of the doors, of course, so that's a shame. I'm not surprised, to be honest. I think my test there was a little bit too vigorous. That pressure washer is a lot more forceful than water would be, and I was probably directing it too far into that gap. So let's try again on the other side. Actually, let's just see how the back door fared. Yeah, there's a bit of water here and a little bit, not so much on the back doors. Let's try again on the other side, and I won't be quite so strong with it. So this time I'll keep the pressure washer a bit further away and a bit more like road spray. So let's have a look this time. Again, a little bit of water on the lower part of the seals there. Not much, but as you can see, there's a little bit of water on the rubber seal there. So maybe these rubber seals aren't quite deep enough. Let's see how the back door fared. Yeah, better, but there's still a little bit of water. A few drops there, one water drop there. So certainly a lot better, but still a little bit getting past those new seals. So my next question would be, are these seals actually deep enough and they're properly getting pinched when you shut the door? So I'm going to test this with a strip of paper. So if I trap a strip of paper there when I shut the door, will I be able to pull it out without any resistance? Not much resistance there at all, to be honest. There's some, but let's just try on there. yeah, that's gripping very tightly. Let's try it. Yeah, it's a bit tighter there. I can slide. So yeah, clearly not sealing well enough. Let's see if these back doors are any better. Not sealing there. It is there. I can't slide the paper anymore. There, it's torn now. So slightly better on the back, but not great. So I was hoping they were going to work better than that, but clearly they're still going to have some benefit, but they're not completely keeping that bottom edge watertight. So what you could do is stick a bit of profile like that, or a thinner, flatter piece like that along there, and that really would do the job. So I might continue playing around with this a bit more in the future, and maybe add an additional strip along the bottom of the sills there, and then that would give something extra for this rubber to pinch up against, and then make it all a little bit tighter. So in a few months' time, when I've had a chance to drive in the rain and mud and real world conditions, I'll do an update video, maybe a video short, and look at how much cleaner the sills are, if at all, and whether I've done anything to improve these. This door seal kit was supplied by Arcoche.com, and they sell accessories for all Tesla models, and they ship worldwide. They approached me and asked if I wanted to review any of their products on the channel, and I'll only review products that I think will be useful and I actually want to use, and that's why I chose this seal kit. This seal kit is a cheap product. It's only about £18 and it fits the Model 3 and the Model Y. And viewers of this channel can use the promo code of GoGreen for a 20% discount on all products on their website. So it's a shame this door seal kit hasn't worked quite as well as I was expecting, but it's a cheap product and it's not going to take much to improve it. It looks good, it almost looks OEM, but even as it is, I would imagine it's probably keeping 60% or so of the dirt off the panels, as I was hoping. All the details, the links and the discount code is in the video description below. So that will do for this video. It is a rather long one, but I hope you found it useful. If you have, please do click the thumbs up button, that really does help. Do subscribe to the channel. And if you want to know more about the Tesla Model Y, there's a link below to a playlist where you can see those other videos. Okie doke, I'll see you on the next one.